Eh bien bonjour à tous les amis, bienvenue pour l'épisode 9 sur Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment. Et on se retrouve avec cette enquête de riches qui nous conduit à un marin, mine de rien. Donc c'est cool. Est-ce que... Ah bah, Wiggins il est encore là, cool. Allons chercher ce Jack Crocker.
Could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here? Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why.
Observons-le. Regard franc, honnête. Bah alors je suis censé voir quelque chose ici. Ah, couteau de marin. Oh là là, c'est sus. C'est suspect. Bon, attendez. Ah. Large carrure. Allez, c'est lui. C'est lui.
You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her, from when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You... and what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right, if there was no evidence.
What then?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right now. Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Sharp. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
At night?
It was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
I'm sure that he can.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Oh.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No. There is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you dissected the bell rope.
Bon, on savait qu'il était violent, moi je suis pour l'absoudre. Il l'aimait, donc il a voulu la protéger. Allez, je suis gentil.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Bah, il est gentil, hein, Wiggins. Hein.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
I know, because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear. And it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it. Now it is time to end this.
Mais je l'ai absous. Purée, mais là, il fait en circuler. Oh, je m'y attendais pas. Oh la vache.
Please forgive me, Captain Crocker. I wished only to test your sincerity, and your words and deeds have far exceeded my expectations. See here, Captain Crocker, we'll do this in due form of law. You are the prisoner. Watson, you are a British jury. Captain Crocker, the evidence shows that you acted without premeditation and used reasonable force to protect an innocent victim from her husband's brutality. Your devotion pushed you to attempt to kill yourself in order to protect the one you love. Now, what say you, gentlemen of the jury?
Not guilty, my lord.
Vox populi, vox dei. You are acquitted, Captain Crocker. So long as the law does not find some other victim, you are safe from me.
Mr. Holmes.
It is a great responsibility that I take upon myself, but I will give Lestrade an excellent lead, and if he can't avail himself of it, I can do no more. Come back to your lady in a year, and may her future and yours justify us in the judgment which we have pronounced this night.
C'est beau, hein?
Inspector, I'm afraid that the murderers have escaped us.
What? Do you mean to tell me that you failed? Never thought I'd live to see the day.
I mentioned the murderers, not the case. It is obvious that the crime was committed by 3 criminals who cannot be the Randalls.
You really think so?
You only need to find a gang of 3 thugs wandering around. I can trust you to do that.
If they exist, I'll catch them.
You'll find someone, I have no doubt of it. Goodbye, Inspector.
Et ben voilà. Moi, je suis content de moi, les amis. Je suis content de moi. C'est ce que j'avais prémédité. Mais oui, le coup du tisonnier, ça se voit que c'était fait sur le coup comme ça, à la hâte. Et après, ils ont manigancé ça pour que ça fasse comme un vol, mais c'était sûr. C'était sûr!
Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
Bon, bah, c'est parti pour une enquête de plantes volées. Hein. Écoutez, c'est un peu moins intéressant que les meurtres, c'est sûr, mais bon, c'est au moins ça. Bon, en tout cas, je suis content de mon choix, les amis, pour le meurtre de Eustache. C'était une crapule hein, quand il était ivre, donc bon. Il battait sa femme, alors. Je dis pas qu'il faut faire ça dans la vraie vie, hein. Il faut que tout homme s'acquitte de sa dette. Mais là, dans un jeu, je prime la morale, les amis. Je prime la morale avant la loi dans les jeux vidéo, vous me connaissez. Oh, ma foi, c'est fort joli.
Here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
Bon.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favour for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens, and that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
D'accord.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The two of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house?
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the colonial collection. He suffered a heart attack. Just like that. so suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
Peut-être que cette crise cardiaque a été provoquée.
The plants were here. All of them were stolen.
Do not touch.
La musique est cool, hein.
Here is a list of the stolen plants.
Fourchette en argent, c'est pas mal ça. Ah, faut consulter les archives, d'accord. Dionae carnivora, Carlina inebriare, Florem diabolica, Chromolaenae. Diabolica, c'est bizarre. Hein. Odorata, Prunus serotina, Elianthore tepuis, Biblis genlisea, Violacea, Darlingtonia, Cracoucas, Cephalotus. Ok.
According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead. The traces are thinner in some places. These boot marks are fresh. It appears as though someone was dragging their feet. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here.
En titubant, bah peut-être le gars avec sa crise cardiaque. Mais non, je voulais les...
Soil. It should have come from a flower pot. The soil on the side of this flower shelf is the same as that on the ground. Fragments of a flower pot. It fell down here. This pot was broken fairly recently. A flower pot recently fell down from these shelves and was misplaced.
D'accord.
The door was smashed at shoulder height. This door handle is new. It was recently changed. The esconson was breached near the handle.
Oui, bah c'est par là
The
qu'ils
door
sont
was
passés.
forced
Quoi.
from the inside of
De
the
l'intérieur.
colonial collection room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need to inspect the colonial collection.
According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. Very strange. Half of the colonial collection is absent. These plants come from all the territories of the British Empire. The smell is strong. It is a detergent. This broken fragment was the result of a heavy blow. A fragment of marble, most likely chipped from a statue or sculpture. These windows were perfectly cleaned. Part of this greenhouse was emptied and thoroughly cleaned.
Bizarre, bizarre.
This sign is broken. Something heavy was dropped upon it. This sign is broken.
Non, c'est le sang que
Something
je
heavy
vois.
was dropped upon it. Blood. Someone fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash. Most likely a head wound. All the clues around here are quite suspicious. I need my imagination to make sense of it all.
Ouais, bon, moi ça veut dire déduction, ça. Ah non. Tomber sur la clôture. Jouer la séquence.
No, it wasn't like that.
Ah, d'accord. Mais comment je fais pour... Ah. Donc, 1, 2, 3.
This reconstruction reveals a disturbing fact. Montague Dunn damaged the door of the Colonial Collection Room.
He was in a panic, or the door was locked? Was it an accident, or a murder then, I wonder?
Bonne question. Bon, on va pas faire les déductions maintenant. On va aller voir les archives pour... Alors peut-être que le détergent associé avec les plantes a pu lui faire tourner la tête et pris de panique, il a voulu sortir. Parce que c'est vrai que quand vous êtes sensible aux odeurs, vous êtes dans une pièce enfermée avec une forte odeur de détergent, c'est pas forcément pratique, quoi. Du coup, non, c'est pas ça. Poison, toxine, sur et prêt, criminalité des arts martiaux, marqué symbole.
That is not the one I need.
Oui, mais je cherche au cas où. Alors, pas les journaux. Économie, technologie, histoire, botanique. Ah ah! Mais c'est tous ceux-là. Ils ont une certaine toxicité, c'est... Voilà, c'est les mêmes. Donc, vous avez vu, regardez. Seuls les 3 premiers, donc Dionae carnivora, elle est ici. Carlina inebriare, elle est là. Et Florem diabolica, ici également. Donc les 3 peuvent se révéler néfastes pour l'homme. Donc c'est face à une agression qu'elle expulse des spores mortels. Intéressant. C'est très intéressant. Je pense que j'ai assez d'éléments. J'ai une supposition. Les plantes étaient entreposées dans la partie coloniale, on a vu. Il a été agressé par la plante. Elle a libéré les spores mortels. Il a voulu s'échapper. Non, encore mieux. Encore mieux. Écoutez bien. Une pierre a été lancée de l'extérieur. Enfin, il n'y a pas une marque de... Ah, peut-être pas, parce que... Enfin, il y a un éclat. Il y a un éclat au sol. Cet éclat au sol a provoqué que les plantes toxiques qui étaient dans la salle avec le gars ont libéré leurs spores, d'où le détergent pour tout nettoyer, parce que les spores, bah, ça laisse des traces. Le gars, pris de panique à cause des spores, a voulu sortir, mais la porte était fermée. Et en sortant, il a fait tomber le pot, est tombé sur le panneau et est mort de la suite de ses blessures. Je pense, hein. Cher monsieur Holmes, j'ai fini par trouver le courage de vous écrire. Les mots me manquent pour vous témoigner ma gratitude en ce jour fatidique. J'ai cru ma vie gâchée. Mais tout à la fois, je me suis aperçu qu'une personne ici-bas m'aimait réellement et ne m'aimerait pas non plus indifféremment. Nous connaissons tous de son nom, le capitaine Jack Crocker. Son amour m'a enfin donné une raison de vivre, même s'il s'avère que nous ne pourrons être réunis. Rien de tout cela n'aurait pu arriver sans vous, monsieur Holmes. Bien à vous, Marie machin.
This is where I keep my post.
Eh ben, je peux commencer à faire des déductions. Alors. La mort de Montagu Dune est suspecte. En effet, pourquoi a-t-il forcé la porte de la collection coloniale? Pourquoi a-t-on nettoyé et vidé la salle? S'agit-il d'un simple accident ou d'un piège? Une autopsie s'impose. Eh ben, on va partir sur une autopsie. Ouais, ça c'était juste pour vérifier. Je pense que l'autopsie va être importante. Scotland Yard. Pour moi, c'est très certainement un piège. Je vois pas l'accident là-dedans. Ou peut-être c'est lui en voulant voler qui
I asked Inspector Lestrade to take Montague Dunn's body to Scotland Yard.
a causé l'accident.
It's ready for autopsy then.
On va aller voir. On va aller voir. Allez, c'est parti. Donc la morgue, ça c'est les effets. Est-ce qu'il y a des effets personnels à prendre? Non. Quoique, attendez.
This watch is of great value.
D'accord.
A membership card for the London Crest Club.
D'accord.
A beautiful feather pen of a good make.
Cher ami, vos affiches vantant la grande exposition de Kew Carden sont remarquables, mais il me paraît superflu de citer tout le personnel. Mon nom seul suffira. Ah oui, carrément. Oh, quel enfoiré. Pardon. Allons à la mort.
First of all, let us carry out an external examination. There is an injury to the skull, most probably caused by the fall in the water lily greenhouse.
Tout à fait, mon cher.
The vessels and the pupil of the eye appear quite normal.
Ok.
The air from the lungs carries a faint floral aroma.
Voilà. J'avais raison.
There are no suspicious marks upon the chest. Let us finish our external examination, so that we can proceed with the autopsy.
Là, il a dit, je pense que c'en est fini avec le côté externe. On peut voir vraiment les trucs vraiment
No redness,
précis.
stings or bruises.
Ouais, donc il n'a pas été piqué.
Nothing suspicious here.
Ouais, c'est à cause des plantes.
Now, let us examine the internal organs.
Oula. Oh, que c'est dégueulasse.
The heart's blood vessels show no pathological signs. The heart tissue shows no visible pathological signs.
Donc le cœur, tout va bien. Les poumons, aspect
The
foral.
lungs are congested and edematous.
Ah!
The tissue on the inferior lobe of the right lung is damaged, most probably caused by toxins from
Et
an unknown
voilà. C'est pas une crise cardiaque, c'est à cause des plantes. Il y a de la chute aussi.
The liver is enlarged. It would seem that he was suffering from an alcohol addiction.
Et en plus, l'alcool.
The liver tissue is brown. There are no visible pathological signs.
Bon, il avait pas de maladie de foie, mais bon, son alcool, c'est un peu
The
bizarre.
stomach tissues show no visible pathological signs. There is a small amount of content. It appears that he breakfasted lightly, only a short while before his death.
Ouais, donc il était pas alcoolisé alors, parce qu'on aurait eu des traces d'alcool.
My suspicions have been substantiated. Montague Dunn, the director of Kew Gardens, died from poisoning, plant poisoning to be more exact.
You mean
Yes, it is murder.
we should inform Lestrade?
Yes, but do remember, Watson, that I discovered the murder. The challenge is mine.
The challenge, Holmes?
We need to locate that deadly plant. Such a perfect murder appeals to me.
Murder of any kind appeals to you. Is that all we need to do?
No, we also have the people working at Kew Gardens. Martin Hamish and the son of the victim, Albert Dunn.
And also Miss White, of whom we spoke with Mr. Hamish. Should we bring them all here for interrogation?
No, a few innocuous questions at Kew will suffice, as well as a discreet delve into their personal affairs. Yes, Watson, it is time now to open the doors.
Even those in the staff building? I suppose that is necessary.
We should also be concerned with the victim himself. After all, we don't know very much about Montague Dunn.
You're enjoying this already, aren't you?
More than a little.
Ouais. Voilà. Oula. Trouver les plantes volées, trouver la plante et en servir à tuer, inspecter le bâtiment administratif de Kew Garden, déterminer qui a tué Dune. Ok. Eh bien, rallons à Kew Garden. Écoutez. Bon, j'imagine que c'est là le truc administratif, non? Bon, déjà, on va t'observer, mon gars. Bon, en même temps qu'il ait un col sale, c'est pas vraiment étonnant. Célibataire. Main de jardinier.
Mr. Hamish, can you explain to us what happened to the colonial collection? It seems somewhat depleted.
But, oh, most likely maintenance work, tidying up.
You're not sure, then? But you're the deputy director.
Well, I am busy. I cannot be everywhere at once.
Ouais, tu t'échappes un peu, hein.
Albert told us about the tragic death of Mr. Dunn, the late director of Kew Gardens.
Tragic indeed. His heart attack was quite unexpected.
Ouais, bien sûr. Bien sûr, bien sûr.
As deputy director, how was your relationship with Montague Dunn?
To be honest with you, Mr. Holmes, it could have been better. You see, every Tuesday he would carry out his inspection of the gardens, but it was solely to make an impression, great pretense that he cared at all. He would give out absurd orders, ignoring anyone else's opinion. He would then disappear for the rest of the week. He was what some might call a man of action. I'd say rather he was overzealous and chaotic. So after all, it was no wonder, perhaps, that he ended up like that, if you take into consideration his kind of lifestyle.
Mhm.
You mentioned that Mr. Dunn led a particular lifestyle.
Well, it's no secret that he enjoyed, celebrating, shall we say? He was a member of the London Smart Set. He was famous for it. That and...
And...
He had an eye for the ladies, to put it mildly, Mr. Holmes.
Et la fameuse Miss White, peut-être?
Tell me, Mr. Hamish, do you grow the more deadly variety of plant here?
You mean insectivorous? Yes, but nothing larger than that.
Ouais, là tu t'échappes un peu.
Thank you, Mr. Hamish. We shall continue our investigation.
Tous les mardis matins, Montagu Dune avait coutume d'effectuer une inspection rapide de Kew Garden. Ses employés, M. Hamish notamment, n'apprécient guère cette habitude. Bah, c'est peut-être à ce niveau-là que après il a agi, hein.
Colonial Collection.
Donc c'est là, c'est ici qu'on a retrouvé le corps.
Water lily greenhouse. Palm house. Dry tropics. Ventilation system. Seed house. Nursery. Director's office, cloakroom and laboratory. Reserve.
J'ai tout fait.
A map
Ah.
of Kew Gardens.
Voilà, c'est bon, j'ai tout fait. Donc j'avais raison, le côté administratif c'est là.
Locked.
Ok.
Locked.
Non mais
Locked.
attendez, y a pas moyen d'enfoncer la porte?
Locked.
Faisons le tour.
Nursery. Locked.
Évidemment. Oh. D'ici, on a une vue sur l'autre côté, hein. C'est quoi ce bruit? Y a pas quelque chose que je pouvais... Non?
Locked.
Ah, moi je visite tout, hein.
Locked. Seed house. There is a smell of burning.
Oh. Vite!
The symbol is not from Kew Gardens. A protective mask. Someone set it alight, but it did not burn. A broom handle was half burned. The plants were set alight fairly recently. Some have not completely burned. A door handle? Why would anyone throw such a thing in the fire? The door handle to the Colonial Collection and that of the fireplace are made of the same material.
Bah, c'est justement pour pas avoir les traces de quelle plante
The
a été
remains of a
utilisée.
picture frame.
Consulter les archives. C'est parti. Alors, c'est quoi qu'il faut analyser? Divin. Ok. D'accord. Non.
That is not the one I need.
Oui, bah oui, j'ai compris. Voilà. Le divin syndicat scolastique pour la vénération du végétal. Les membres du syndicat vénèrent Trewam le dieu roi. Ils cherchent à atteindre la paix intérieure et à s'affranchir du matérialisme, d'où des donations très
Here
généreuses.
it is.
Voilà.
The Divine Syndicate is not a supplier to Kew Gardens. Besides, there is no address here.
Oh. Alors, faisons un petit point. Bon, tout ça, c'est bon. Pour l'instant, c'est plutôt bon.
Mr. Hamish, can you tell us who holds the keys to the locked greenhouses?
That would be Albert, Mr. Dunn's son. Yes, Albert keeps all the keys, and one can only imagine why.
What do you mean?
Well, he was never interested in Kew Gardens before. And now all of a sudden he's trying to act as if he owns the place. I think he wants to take over the management here. He'd do better to leave that to me. He has no experience. No, none at all.
Are you aware of the Divine Syndicate?
The Divine what? Is this a joke?
No, I am quite serious.
What a ridiculous name. Anyway, I have never heard of this syndicate.
Bah, soit le fils,
Thank you, Mr.
soit le
Hamish. We shall
propriétaire, et
continue
ils
our
étaient dans cette
investigation.
histoire. Hein. Du coup...
Can I help you, gentlemen?
Bah oui, on t'a pas encore parlé. Mais faisons d'abord un bref tour du mobilier. Non. Tu peux te pousser, merci. Ah, je pensais que je pouvais le prendre. Ok, rien observé, rien observé. Bon, allez, parlons... Dégage, Watson. Parlons-lui un peu. Waouh! Il y a des choses à poser comme question. Le chagrin ou la culpabilité? Justement, il est jardinier, elle a les mains propres. Pourquoi il s'est lavé les mains?
Who is Miss Margaret White?
Ah, she is the young lady who studies with me. She visits here sometimes to help out with the greenhouses. In fact, she should be here today. She wanted to work at the seed house. That's the small greenhouse across from the large glass house.
Do you work here?
Yes, but part-time only, for I'm also studying botany at the University of London.
You're following in your father's footsteps, then. That is commendable.
Well, even if botany is not my strongest suit, there are people who say that I could be a good manager.
Ouais, bon, c'est pas le cas du directeur adjoint, hein. Il t'aime pas trop.
We noticed that a part of the colonial collection has been cleared.
Ah. At the moment, I'm just dealing with the storage room. I don't know much about the other rooms.
Ouais.
I imagine that your relationship with your father may have been a strained one.
Yes. I cannot say that he was a kind man, for he never listened to me at all. He forced me to work here. But now, after his death, I've been pondering it over. Perhaps he wasn't so wrong about me after all. I have to follow his path, and I have to manage Kew Gardens. And I can do it. I can be as good as any other who works here.
Moi, je sais pas pourquoi, je sens qu'il fait partie du divin syndicat, hein.
Would you please tell us about Martin Hamish, the deputy director?
Well, I have to tell you that Mr. Hamish is not and has never been the deputy director of Kew Gardens. My father would not have tolerated it.
Indeed? Well, that is most interesting. He told us that he was.
Yes, because he believes that the management should be passed down to him now that my father is dead. But in actual fact, Mr. Hamish only has the honour of being the garden's longest-serving employee. In fact, if we are to think logically at all, it should be me who takes over the management of Kew Gardens.
Do you not have a good relationship with Mr. Hamish?
I suppose so. But we have very little in common. Mr. Hamish loves his plants and Kew Gardens, and I cannot say that I share his passion.
I see. And how was his relationship with your father?
Oh, he hated my father. It was obvious. He would be furious whenever my father boasted of Kew Gardens in the newspapers or at conferences. He was convinced that my father was stealing all of the credit for himself.
Bon, c'est un peu le cas, hein, vu la
My
lettre qu'on a
father
vue.
treated Mr. Hamish in the same way as he treated anyone. Dismissively. With indifference.
Ah, donc il est en train de dire qu'en fait, il était juste désagréable avec tout le monde.
Tell me, have you ever heard of the Divine Syndicate?
No, I cannot say that I have.
Ouais, mytho. Je suis sûr que tu as vu ça à Londres.
Do you hold the keys to all of these locked doors?
Yes, you can have them. But I cannot give you the keys to the cloakroom. The employees' effects are private.
Zut.
I am sure you understand.
On va devoir forcer la porte.
Thank you, young man. We shall see you again soon. Farmhouse. A task list for Albert, compiled by Martin Hamish. Sweep out the palm house, scrub the toilets, clean the storage shed tools.
Ouais, c'est vraiment un boulot ingrat, hein, si je puis dire. Le jeune Albert Dune se ronge les ongles, il se couple en se rasant tant il est nerveux. Il s'est lavé les mains avec force détergent, ce qui n'est guère judicieux quand on manipule la terre et les plantes. Ses yeux rougis indiquent qu'il a beaucoup pleuré ces derniers temps. En âge d'être à l'université, il est bien fait de sa personne, célibataire et vit sans doute encore chez sa mère. À utiliser et à utiliser. Sans doute pour construire un pot. D'accord. Ah, moi je fouille tout. Hein. Tiens, donc une pelle. Ok.
Water lily greenhouse.
Ah,
According to this, They have light and moisture control in some
Et
parts
ça, on l'avait
of the
déjà vu, ça.
building.
Ah bah oui, mais c'est là où... Oui, d'accord. La scène du crime.
These trees, with their roots in water, must originate from Louisiana.
Ah, yes, the bayou. I remember our visit in the case of the Awakened.
J'en profite pour voir si j'ai pas oublié quelque chose, d'ailleurs.
This is one of the outlets of the ventilation system.
C'est bizarre, ça. Allez, bouge.
Dry tropics. These flower pots are beautiful. They are intended to be used for exhibition purposes. The symbol is not from Kew Gardens.
Ah ah. Encore des trucs à voir dans les archives.
Dry tropics.
Oh, j'étais sûr que le truc qu'on pouvait voir... Tant pis, des cordes, ouais. Est-ce qu'on a tout vu ici? Oui. Bon. Ah. Une madame.
Look, Holmes, this charming lady must be Miss White. She's entering the seed house.
Oui, 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 oui. Mais attends, moi, il y a quelque chose d'autre qui m'intéresse avant toute chose. Ah, je peux pas voir ses pots. Oh, il y a forcément quelque chose.
A ventilation system. It should regulate the temperature of the staff buildings. A ventilation system.
À
It should
utiliser.
regulate the temperature
Il y a
of the
quelque
staff
chose avec la
buildings.
ventilation. Moi, je vous le dis. Bon, on le fera à un autre moment.
Seed house.
Bon, allez, on va à la grainerie, comme
Open.
ça on va la voir. Bonjour, madame. Alors, permettez, je fais le tour du mobilier avant de venir vous parler. Bon, grainerie, c'est là où il y a les graines, j'imagine. On entrepose les graines pour les étudier ou commencer à faire les pots et tout ce qui s'ensuit, j'imagine.
From here, we are unable to see the interior of the Colonial Collection Room.
Ouais, bon à savoir.
Materials for college study. They belong to Albert.
Ok.
These leather gloves are new and of good quality. They do not appear to have been used. This place serves as Albert's office.
Non, tu crois?
A book about ships. Nothing at all to do with plants.
Ouais, ce qui voulait peut-être dire que c'était pas son ambition première de faire ça. Hein. Bon, allez. Le temps est venu.
day to you, miss. You have some very beautiful plants here.
Why, thank you, sir. And good day to you, too. But
Oh, I do beg your pardon. My name is Dr. John Watson. This is my good friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
I am honored to make your acquaintance, gentlemen. My name is Margaret White. Excuse me, but are you Sherlock Holmes, the great detective?
Yes, I am he.
What a pleasure to see you here at Kew Gardens. Are you working on a case?
Laisse-moi t'analyser avant de dire quoi que ce soit. Un parfum raffiné. T'as pas vraiment le look de l'emploi, si je puis me permettre. Ah, famille pauvre. Intéressant. Famille pauvre, mais...
Yes, a theft of plants that took place here a few days ago after their most recent exhibition.
Oh yes, of course. I quite forgot about that.
La tragédie aussi, tu l'as oublié?
Oh, it's quite understandable that you might forget about the theft of the plants, miss, after the tragedy that took place here.
Yes. The director was a truly good man. It is such a terrible misfortune.
Wow. Oula, tout s'est débloqué.
Would you happen to know why part of the colonial collection was cleared?
No, I have never been there.
Ça, je suis pas sûr.
Do you work here?
Part-time only. I am a biology student at the London University. I attend the same classes as the son of Mr. Montague Dunn.
Tiens, tiens,
That is how
tiens.
I found my chance to work here for part of my thesis, you see.
Tiens, tiens,
It
tiens.
is a great honor.
Tiens, tiens, tiens.
How well did you know Mr. Montague Dunn?
He was a master, a great leader. I saw him almost as a spiritual father.
He had an exceptional nature?
Oh yes, indeed. He was always so active and so optimistic and very nice to me. Although he could behave harshly towards his son.
Why so?
He loved his son dearly and wanted the very best for him. It made him extremely demanding. Albert, who is naturally shy, suffered because of it.
The Divine Syndicate. Does that name mean anything to you, by any chance?
Not at all. But it is a very pretty name.
Ok.
Most of the doors in Kew Gardens are locked. Do you have a key to this room?
Oh, yes. Albert gave me a set of duplicate
Tiens,
keys.
tiens,
He
tiens.
agreed I might carry out my studies without disturbing him.
Tiens, tiens,
It is only
tiens.
temporary.
C'est suspect.
Thank you, miss. None of the 3 people who work at Kew Gardens know why half of the colonial collection was cleared. So, someone is lying. It is obvious.
Bah bien sûr. Bien sûr. Bien sûr que quelqu'un ment, mais ça... Ça, on n'avait pas besoin de toi pour le déduire. Miss Margaret White a beau avoir l'air riche et en parfaite santé, je distingue des marques roses sur ses mains. C'est un symptôme de peulagre, une maladie qui apparaît après une malnutrition prolongée. De toute évidence, elle a passé son enfance dans le dénuement, mais ses signes extérieurs de richesse attestent d'un changement radical dans sa vie. Ouais, elle fait partie de la secte. On va consulter les archives par rapport à ça et puis on se laissera là, les amis. Il nous manquera encore les bâtiments administratifs, mais rassurez-vous, tout vient à point, à qui sait attendre, les amis. Comme là, on est à 59 minutes. Inspecter, enfin, même une heure, hein, parce que vous avez l'introduction. Mais comme on n'a plus beaucoup de choses à faire, autant...
This is where I keep my...
Mais non, mais c'est pas ça que je voulais voir. Autant faire le symbole, et puis après, on en restera là. Alors, symbole...
That is not the one I need.
Voilà, jardin de Seymour, matériel et fournitures de jardin. Nous subvenons à tous vos besoins en matière de paysagisme, jardinage et élagage. Catalogue exhaustif et fournitures et livraison de sable, humus, païs, mots, etc. D'accord.
Here it is.
D'accord. Bon, bah, ça nous a pas servi plus que ça. Ok, et ben écoutez les amis, sur ce, je pense qu'on va se laisser là pour aujourd'hui. J'espère que cet épisode vous aura plu. On se retrouve la semaine prochaine pour la suite de notre aventure sur Sherlock Holmes Crimes and Punishment. Bisous à tous les amis. Ciao, ciao.